Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic that is been talked about in the equestrian community for a while now. And it's gonna be talking about some abusive things. So if you don't want to know or hear about horse abuse or anything kind of like that, then click away from this video now. I'm not going to be talking about like horse abuse itself, but things that go on about it. Specifically one sport, and that is big leg. And so today I'm going to be talking about big leg versus saddle seat. If you guys don't know what big leg is, it is a abusive sport, I guess you could say. I used it in quotation marks because I don't think it is a sport. Like, horse abuse is not a sport, okay, people? It's just not. Alright? Yeah. So, big leg is it's with Tennessee walking horses where they do some pretty messed up stuff to them. And so their hooves, they put like these big like blocks on top of their hooves, so their hooves aren't even touching the ground. Then they wrap their hooves. First they put chemicals on their like hooves, like the skin just above their hooves, and then they wrap plastic or something around it to make it sink into their skin. And then when the the competition comes up, they take it off and they apply chains onto that area to make it very sensitive. It's already sensitive, and they're applying pressure and they're applying pain to that area, which then makes them have a very extended gait. It makes their like hooves and their feet like fly out because it hurts. It hurts, okay? You know? And yeah. So that's what big leg is. And then saddle seat is not like that, like at all. A lot of people say that it's similar, and I will agree with that. It's kind of similar. But at the same time, I feel like it's not, because you're not really abusing a horse unless you do it incorrectly. Let's get into that now. Saddle seat is not like big leg. Saddle seat now uses a natural gait. They use a variety of horses, but they mainly use saddlebreds. And that's what they use for saddle seat. That's kind of in their name. But saddlebreds have a very natural gait. And they don't extend their gait. They don't make their gait like go any weird way, anything like big like what they do with Tennessee walking horses. With saddle seat, they use like I said, multiple breeds, but they mainly use saddlebred horses. And the only thing that I would say that could be a little questionable or a little abusive to me would be that they use, most of the time they use two different types of reins. They use a normal rein that you would usually find, like a braided rein, you would probably use with any other type of horse, with any other type of discipline. And then they use another one called curb reins, where that brings the horse's nose to their chest. Also, they hold their hands up pretty high, which I think is why they might compare them to big leg. But they hold their hands up pretty high, and that makes the horse hold their head up high. And then they bring their nose in with the curb reins, which I would say is pretty unnatural. I'm not sure if it hurts the horse, but it is very unnatural, and it probably is not comfortable. And then they also they place their saddle pretty far back, and then they sit far back in the saddle. Now, just from there, that would probably be fine. But to me, it's kind of not, and to other people, it's not. Because if you know scientific and you know about horses and you know, like, their biology, or not their biology, but, like, how they are made, I guess, and where their different organs are, you would then know that where you're sitting in the saddle for saddle seat, and I'm gonna also think for big leg as well, but I'm not sure. But for saddle seat, you're sitting on top of their kidneys. Imagine someone sitting on top of your kidneys. That would hurt. But that's what saddle seat riders do. Now, it's not making the horse do anything like unnatural. It's just where they sit in the saddle seat riders. But I would say that would hurt the horse because you're sitting on a kidney, on both their kidneys actually. And since you're sitting on one of their organs, that's gonna hurt. Now, I'm not sure what this actually will do to the horse, but I just know that it wouldn't feel good for someone to sit on my kidneys. So it's probably not going to feel good to sit on a horse's kidneys either. And so those are the two main things that I just want to talk about with saddle seats and how they technically could be abusive to some people, but it's not as bad as Big Lick. I don't know much else that I could really talk about, but I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but I ride at a saddle seat barn, and I kind of watch to see if they're doing anything that could hurt horses. And so far, I haven't seen anything severe. Like, I haven't seen, like, really anything, like, related to Big Lick or anything that could really be abusive other than those two things. That's how I really know about them happening, like how I know about curb reins and how I know about sitting far back in the saddle. Because when I first got there, I was put into saddle seat because that was the barn, that's their main discipline. And so immediately, it's not what I used to ride like. I used to do hunter jumper, and now that's what I do. But I'll get into that in a second. And where it definitely did not feel the way it used to, what I spent 3 years of my life doing before I got scared and I took a break. But yeah, I mean, it definitely was different. You're sitting pretty far back in the saddle, which, I mean, I didn't know that you were sitting on the horse's kidneys at the time, but now I do know that. And also, since I didn't know about that, really, but eventually, like, a couple months later from doing it, maybe like 6 months later, I found out that they were offering that they could do, hunt seat, which is not the same. And so I switched to that. And even though I was doing hunt seat, the owner of the barn decided to do curb reins with me for some reason, which I was just like, oh, that's weird. I don't know why they're doing this. Because I'm doing hunt seat. And hunt seat, if you guys did not know, hunt seat doesn't do curb reins. But, yeah. And then that's how I found out about curb reins. And how I found out that it brings the horse's nose in, which I feel like is weird. Like, why do you want the horse's nose to be in? Like, I understand holding your hands up high, because that's how the horses should look during their competitions and how they should look. But then curb reins, like wearing the horse's nose in, doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I mean, that's how I found out about those things. I mean, I don't know what else you really do other than hold your hands up high, which is also really weird because your horse's head is really high up instead of letting it be like loose and everything like in other disciplines. But yeah, that's really all I've really seen and all I really know. So yeah, that's my video talking about saddle seat versus Big Lick. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, and let me know what you guys think about these two different disciplines. Guess you have to call Big Lick a discipline, at least for now. I know a lot of people are trying to stop it, and I totally agree with it. I don't agree with Big Lick at all. I think it is so abusive, and I absolutely hate it, and I think it should be banned in everywhere in the world. I mean, I feel like a lot of different horse disciplines should be banned in the world because they are abusive, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Big Lick versus Saddle Seat. Those are the things that I find about Saddle Seat could be abusive, but it's not as bad as Big Lick. And Big Lick is just terrible for Tennessee walking horses. I feel so bad for them, and I really hope that we can ban Big Lick everywhere in the world, and we can get those people that did Big Lick arrested, and that we can get those Tennessee walking horses that have been in so much pain and in so much terrible situations out of it, and maybe we can heal their legs if they're there. And whatever we can do to help these horses, let's do it. And if you guys agree with me, comment down below and tell me your thoughts. And if you guys support Big Lick, then also let me know why you support it down below, because I would love to know why, because I gave you a lot of information telling you why you shouldn't like it. So let me know if you like it down below, and tell me if you don't like it, and I'll see you guys the next time. Bye!